Breaking the most resilient defensive wall in Generation 1 requires overwhelming physical force, a hit that shatters a fully healthy Chansey in a single strike. Kingler possesses that force. This chart shows its stat distribution, where a massive spike represents a base 130 attack stat, one of the highest physical ratings in the Kanto region. In the original Red and Blue games, the move Hyper Beam operates under a unique mechanic. If the attack successfully knocks out the target, the user bypasses the mandatory recharge turn. Combining the move Sword Stance, which doubles the user's attack stat, with the Generation 1 Hyper Beam mechanic creates the highest unboosted physical damage ceiling in the game. Kingler has the raw numerical power to secure guaranteed one-hit knockouts against defining metastables like Chansey, Jinx, and Alakazam. A one-hit knockout, or OHKO, means depleting a target from full health to 0 in a single turn. Yet, despite this potential, Kingler remains an uncommon threat in high-level play. It is a theoretical monster trapped by structural bottlenecks. Success requires flawless mathematical execution and navigating highly specific board states to unlock its full power. To create the openings it needs, Kingler relies on Body Slam, a move designed to force an opponent into a losing position. Body Slam carries a 30% chance to inflict paralysis. For an opponent, this secondary effect creates an immediate, unacceptable risk when trying to switch in a defensive counter. Switching risks permanent paralysis. Staying takes heavy damage. This dilemma gives Kingler a free turn to use Sword Stance. At +2, Hyper Beam guarantees knocking out Chansey, Jinx, and Jolteon. Starmie and Victreebel face 30.8 and 56.4% knockout chances. Against a team already softened by prior attacks, a single free setup turn allows Kingler to begin chaining these lethal damage rolls. Looking back at Kingler's stats, the towering 130 attack sits next to a glaring weakness. Its base 50 special stat is the primary hurdle in Kingler's profile. Because Body Slam and Hyper Beam are normal-type attacks, they are completely ineffective against ghost types. In Generation 1, a Pokémon like Gengar is immune to Kingler's entire primary offense. Kingler's normal-type moves are also heavily resisted by rock types, making physically dense targets like Rhydon difficult to move. To solve these immunities and resistances, Kingler must use its exclusive water-type move, Crabhammer. However, in this generation, water-type damage is calculated using the special stat. Using a special move on a Pokémon with a base 50 rating creates a significant mathematical problem. This graph shows how Crabhammer bypasses that low stat. In Generation 1, Crabhammer has a uniquely high critical hit ratio. A critical hit mathematically overrides the low special stat by applying a massive multiplier to the damage. When mapped against Rhydon, Kingler's primary physical counter, this multiplier results in a guaranteed one-hit knockout. Against the ghost-type Gengar, Crabhammer secures a guaranteed 3-hit knockout, dealing enough damage to prevent Gengar from switching in safely multiple times. Crabhammer also counters Snorlax. Because critical hits in this generation ignore defensive stat boosts, Kingler has an 87.2% chance to defeat Snorlax in 3 hits, even if the opponent uses Reflect to boost their physical defense. But this mathematical workaround has a flaw. Crabhammer only has an accuracy rating of 85%. Kingler's entire coverage net depends on a 15% chance to miss. If a single attack fails to connect, the sweep ends immediately. Kingler's base 50 special stat defines its defensive bulk as much as its elemental offense. Combined with a mediocre base 75 speed, it leaves Kingler profoundly exposed to the most common special moves in the tier. This fragility makes finding a safe turn to use Sword Stance exceptionally difficult against an active, healthy opponent. Faster special attackers highlight this weakness. This chart shows how a neutral psychic attack from Alakazam removes exactly half of Kingler's health, guaranteeing a knockout in 2 turns. Super effective electric attacks are even more devastating. A Thunderbolt from Zapdos or Starmie will secure a knockout even if Kingler is relatively healthy, at 75% health. Because it cannot survive a single strong special hit, Kingler functions as an extreme glass cannon. Players must engineer completely safe entry points to ensure it survives long enough to set up. Paralysis is the ultimate run killer in the RBY metagame, specifically preying upon Kingler's lack of bulk. Being paralyzed carries a dual punishment. It severely drops Kingler's speed and locks it into its poor special defense without the ability to strike first. The worst-case scenario occurs when Kingler takes a Thunder Wave from Executor or Chansey on the exact turn it uses Swords Dance, leaving its attack boost completely stranded. Once paralyzed, Kingler is easily outpaced. Checks like Lapras or Victreebel can outspeed and dispatch it before it ever launches a Hyper Beam. Kingler's sweeping prospects are structurally incompatible with an opposing team that still has active status spreaders, forcing the player to wait for the perfect opening. Successful use of Kingler requires extreme preservation. It must be hidden and saved strictly for the late game. This map shows the required board state. The opponent's team must be heavily chipped down, incapacitated, or paralyzed. The ideal entry point is here, switching Kingler in to punish a sleeping Pokémon using Rest. This provides the uncontested turn to double its attack. Reaching this position requires specific team support. Pairing Kingler with electric types like Zapdos allows the player to lure out and eliminate opposing electric types and Slowbro before the sweep begins. Kingler is a highly contingent win condition. It rewards players capable of navigating severe mathematical constraints to unleash a single game-ending turn.